Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome back to the happy hour edition of the 2020 Cossa Challenge Tournament and our roundup of tonight's matches for the Elite Eight. Before we get to tonight's action, let's take a moment to say a word about the volunteers that make this tournament and all our alumni fun possible. The tournament is sponsored by the KSTUAA Advisory Board. This stands for Kappa Sigma Theta Upsilon Alumni Association, and each of the board members, of which there are currently 11, serve 2-year terms. The current slate is scheduled to expire this June. You can see those names on the left, and on the right are those that will continue until 2021. We are currently seeking nominations for those positions on the left. And so all you need to do is let us know if you're interested. We'd love to hear from you if you're at all interested, especially if you're from the later years or 90s and or earlier. We'd like as much representation as we can. And we'd like to say welcome to our newest board member, Mark Householder from 1982, who was just voted in last week to fulfill a vacancy that became open from Tom Collins. We're also looking for volunteers for the Communications and Event Committee. They're the ones that put on this tournament as well as our other events and make sure that all of our news is placed out there in the newsletters and the social media posts that I talked about last night. And some of you might know about our Chapter Advisory Council. Just want to give a shout out to these gentlemen who will be helping us tutor and mentor the young men that of the interest group that will be seeking to become a Kappa Sig colony in the near future. So with that, let's take a look at our action in the tournament. The Elite Eight had its challenges, particularly finding public courts as municipalities removed rims and nets. This impacted both our South and Midwest games tonight. And we also saw our third overtime game tonight in the tournament. We'll get to that and the action right now, beginning in the South, where we had the number 1 seed, the Redskins, who scored the tournament high 102 points last week, up against the surprising and determined number 7 seed, the 2020 champ UD Flyers, that advanced through the Sweet 16 wearing flip-flops. Their star, Billy Behringer, 1989, came into this game dressed like Batman, hoping to unsettle the Redskins. But we think also looking forward to the next round in anticipation of a possible matchup with the Ragin' Reed Balls, who had dressed up as Superman in their first round. But Billy's game reminds us more of this Batman. Because of his heavy use of the backboard and the unforgettable sound that makes during his game. Thwack, thwack, thwack. How many do we hear in this game? Well, let's just say that Billy made an unholy number of bat hoops, his best game yet, of 7 baskets. And his aggressive defense and distracted bat socks was enough to knock off the Redskins from their game and force a tie in regulation, the second overtime in the Elite Eight. Commissioner, why don't you walk us through the next steps? Gladly. Luke Meisner, as the number 1 seed, calling for the Redskins, chose heads. So it was up to the Grand Master of Brackets, Brad Mikes, to flip the coin, and the coin came up heads. As a result, the official ruling is the Redskins win the tiebreaker and advance with a score of 75-72. The judges also felt, although there was no proof, that Billy was probably playing on a rim only 8 feet tall. Back to you. So in the South, what we have is the Redskins, #1 seed, advancing to the Final Four. Let's see who will face them in the Midwest. We had in this region no top seeds advancing. The #5 Tiger Kings and the #7 Raging Reed Balls matched up in this one. In this, the Reed Ball star, Patrick Reedy of 1989, said after the game that he was really paying tribute to the 80s rock bands from his era at Theta Upsilon, but most people thought he was really poking the Tiger in this one, and the Tiger Kings themselves. And that strategy seems to have backfired, as the Tiger Kings went on and murdered the Reed Balls in a score of 59-38 in this game. And as a result, Evan Hagenkamp from 2009 will face off against his buddy Luke Meisner from the same year, 2011, and play off in the Final Four. So there you have it. The final 2 teams have punched their tickets to the Final Four. 2 #1s facing off against 2 #5 seeds. So tune in tomorrow for the games in the Final Four, Saturday, April 25th, and the championship on Monday. And finally, don't forget to send in your nominations to the board or volunteer for the communications committee to help us keep great events like this going. And remember to be safe, stay socially or physically distant. And thanks for watching AKDB, brothers.